This is the rear shock, or one of the rear shocks, on my 2007 Chevrolet Colorado. I put these in about 80,000 miles ago, give or take 10,000 or so. One thing I noticed while I was going through and putting some WD-40 and silicone grease on some of the screws and mount points and everything that was starting to rust underneath of here. This is obviously shot, this body bumper here, so I'm gonna have to get a new one of those. I can't get that today, but at least I can do the shocks. Brakes were pretty dirty. I did those also probably about 80, maybe 100,000 miles ago. Vehicle has 174 on it currently. Check the shock out though. Push it down. Nothing. So stick a fork in it. That one's done. Doesn't even. So I'll record more video later. But just to show how this was installed prior to me taking it out, it was this large bolt and these two small bolts, which are a little bit slick because I sprayed some WD-40 on them. I just like to clean everything up and try to protect it. But the bottom bolt is through here, and then it's just right through there. And the top bolts, I'm gonna have to slide underneath. They are, let's see, actually I can tell you, the top bolts are 10 millimeter, just like a lot of things in General Motors, 10 millimeter. The bottom bolt, 21. And I had to put a wrench on it to keep the other side from turning while I loosened it. The two 10 millimeter top bolts, not too bad to get to as long as you can jack it up a little bit. And always make sure you use a jack stand as well as a jack. And I actually like to throw the tire underneath here as well while I'm under here working, just in case something were to give out and fall. But my phone's not focusing very well on those. That is the two 10 millimeter top bolts, and they're pretty easy to get to as long as you've got enough extensions. I'll be doing the other side next. You can see that one's pretty rusted as well. It's probably also in as bad a shape. Oh. Also, while I was under here, I noticed, trying to get the camera to focus a little better, there we go. These mud flaps were pretty loose, and this one is a little bit cracked, you can kind of see, but I just tightened the screws holding those on. And it's getting ready to rain again. It'll be my luck. So here's just a quick part 2 on this video. As you can tell, it started raining because life is never easy. This is the new shock. It was kind of tough to put the boot on. I've forgotten how much a pain in the ass it is. I had to kind of use a screwdriver and leverage it on. I know it's hard to tell in a video, but if I were to put both hands on here, you'd be able to see that the new shock is much smoother going in, and when I pull it back out, and again, that's something hard to do with when I'm holding the camera with the other hand. I threw a plastic bag over the brake to protect it from the rain. You can probably hear the thunder in the background. This is going to be really fun trying to finish this job. So I'm going to stop the video again, but like I said, I just wanted to show you the new shock and try to tell you it's a lot smoother going in and out now as opposed to the old one. So installation is the reverse of removal. I'm probably going to put the bottom bolt, because I'm doing this by myself, rather than trying to hold it up and screw the two top bolts in place. I'll probably put the bottom bolt in, extend it all the way, and hope that I can do it like that. Another thing you can do if you have to, put a jack underneath here and lift this up so that you're not having to reach as far. Hopefully I won't have to do that. It's been a long time since I've done this, but like I said, it's not super hard. It's just not as much fun in the rain. Part 3, this is just a quick shot showing the new one in place. I did wind up having to put the two bolts in the top and then leaving it hang, and then pushing the bottom bolt through, contrary to what I'd hoped to do. Wound up being pretty easy like this, but I just starting at the bottom and then going to the top too. I couldn't get it lined up properly, so maybe you'll have better luck. And just to show the parts that I'm using before I forget, let's see. The part numbers. Is an RS 5301 and RS 5300. That's for the front. These were about $48 each. One was $46 and one was $52 or something on Amazon.com. Here's just a quick shot of the other side. Other side doesn't look as bad as the driver's side. I've already sprayed some WD-40 and grease and everything all over just to try to clean up some of the rust around here. I pulled the bottom bolt loose so you can see how this is when it's just hanging from the top two screws. The bumper here is in a little bit better shape than the one on the driver's side, so hopefully it feels like it stopped raining a little bit, so hopefully this side will go a little bit smoother than the driver's side did. After I'm done with the back, I'm going to start on the front, and maybe I'll show a couple quick clips of the when I'm doing the front as well. To take the nut off the top of the front shocks, there's a couple different ways you can do it. If you have the proper tool, you can reach it through the engine compartment. Pretty hard to see. It's down there. Of course now I can't see it, but the easier way I've found is with two wrenches. One to hold the, oh, that's why I couldn't see it, because I had it covered with this. If I'd done that, I would have been able to see it from the engine compartment. But take two wrenches, put one on the top to keep it from turning, and then the other wrench on the bottom to loosen this nut. These are 14 millimeter and a 6 millimeter. So put the 6 millimeter on the top, like so, and then use the 14 millimeter to break that nut loose and turn it loose. And that's to remove the top nut on the front shocks. To remove the front shock, once you have the top and the bottom bolts removed, you have to turn the wheel to be able to drop it down. See if I can get a better shot. So just turn the wheel all the way clockwise for the driver's side and all the way counterclockwise for the passenger side, just to give yourself enough clearance behind the caliper to slide the shock out. To get the bottom bolt back in was a little bit tricky. I just took a socket wrench, anything metal, long and metal will do. I put it on the back. Can you show the light? There, and then I just tapped the head of the socket wrench with a hammer to slide that bolt back in. And it's raining like crazy here, and there's sirens because there's accidents everywhere. It's a fun night to be working on your shocks, but this is the new one, is almost in now. I just need to put the top bolt back on and then do the other side. One thing to be careful for is watch out for your ABS sensor wire here. You don't want to accidentally pinch this when you're putting the top back on. Alright, here's one last clip of the finished installation of the final shock on the front passenger side. This one went a lot easier despite the rain. One other thing to watch out for that I noticed on my vehicle in particular is these, and I think I mentioned it on the back one as well, is this, these, you can probably see how this body bumper, free hands, is basically falling apart. And I'm going to try to replace that one, obviously not tonight. But, you know, just good to go through and do an inspection of things like that while you're replacing the shocks. And another thing to inspect would be your tie rod ends. On mine, I greased them. I replaced these a few years ago. I think I have a YouTube video on that as well. But, you know, while you're doing this, just go ahead and add a little grease to them. And that's about it. Just get this tire on before the rain starts coming down hard again.
Let me go take some.